National Nutrition Natural Health Reviews. 3 minutes of the latest naturopathic info with Canada's leading nutrition experts. Watch, learn, and get healthy naturally.
Hey there, Jonathan Beatty, naturopathic doctor and a health expert here at Nationalnutrition.ca. Today I want to talk a little bit about aging. Aging is more than just the passing of days on the calendar or the passing of years. When we talk about aging, what we're really talking about is essentially the slow deterioration of the body, of the physical self. That's usually what we're talking about when we talk about aging. Basically how diseases develop over time and how our tissues and functions break down and are lost. This happens to everybody, but one thing we notice in our lives is it happens to different people at different rates. So one of the questions we must ask ourselves is, why does this happen? When patients come into my office, they often say, I'm developing arthritis. My doctor says it's just a part of getting older. And I always flip it back on them and ask, well, yes, but does everybody your age have this arthritis? And they think to themselves, well, no, not everybody. I say, okay, so what behaviors does that person without arthritis do that you don't? And that's often the answer as to why some people experience more diseases of aging and more degenerative diseases than others. What it is they're doing specific behaviors in their life that are preventing this aging of cells, this breakdown of tissues. So how exactly does that happen? Well, there's a few things involved with why our tissues break down, why our tissues age. So there are these things called telomers, and essentially they're pieces of DNA at the end of every gene, and every time you replicate a cell, you have to shorten these telomers. And eventually the telomers get so short that they're no longer present, and then that cell can no longer replicate. So that's essentially how cellular senescence occurs, where the cell can no longer divide, so when it runs its course, it runs its life, that cell dies and cannot sort of produce another generation. So if you think about that in the context of a liver cell, over time, as certain liver cells can no longer replicate, the liver can no longer perform its duties to the normal level, and you're going to get degeneration of the liver and different forms of liver diseases caused by this lack of the liver's ability to repair itself, because it can no longer regenerate the cells because the telomeres have been lost. Another factor that affects aging is hormones. In women, we all talk about menopause, which is, essentially reverse puberty. So women go through a loss of production of estrogen and progesterone and their other sex hormones. The same thing occurs in men. We typically call it andropause, where there's a sudden, rather steep decline in testosterone production. And these hormones are needed. Hormones are growth hormones. We often refer to them as sex hormones because they're one of the ways in which we differentiate the sexes. Women have higher estrogen, men have higher testosterone. That being said, what these hormones really do is they're growth hormones. And so, of course, what do we talk about? There's growth and then there's aging, the lack of growth, the degeneration. So when we lose these hormones, we lose the ability to stimulate growth in our cells. So ensuring adequate hormone levels is important in preventing aging as well. And then last but not least, what actually causes cells to be harmed? What causes them to lose their function and either need to replicate themselves to create the next generation to fulfill its function, or things that can actually kill the cell line off altogether? Well, these are what we call toxins. And one of the biggest toxins that we have in our life are actually produced inside of us. They're called oxidative stressors. These toxins that basically cause chemical changes in our cells and prevent them from functioning normally. And anything that prevents a cell from functioning normally is considered a toxin. So these toxins we produce in our cells, we need to eliminate. And the way we do that is we use these things, it's a major buzzword, but what we call antioxidants. And so ensuring adequate antioxidant intake, it helps our body manage the oxidative stressors produced by normal cellular metabolism, and that helps prevent cellular degeneration and helps to stimulate proper cell function and proper cell growth. The longer a cell can function normally, the less often it has to replicate itself, which means the longer the telomeres are going to stay and the less you're going to age. A cell can only divide about 57 times based on telomere length. So one of the ways we can actually help to prevent aging, there is actually some research suggesting an extract of astragalus may actually have the ability to activate the enzyme that stabilizes telomeres. What that means is, if this herbal extract can do this, is that it prevents the telomere shortening when the cells are replicated. What this allows is for the cell to have more chances to replicate itself and prevent the loss of that cell line, which ultimately will help ensure normal and proper organ function for a longer time period, and again, less symptoms or less diseases associated with degeneration and aging. Additionally, working on proper hormone function is really important. So ensuring adequate testosterone, adequate estrogen levels, and progesterone. And one of the ways we can do this is through herbal medicine. There's a variety of different herbs that can actually help stabilize hormones. On the testosterone side, a herb called Uricomia longifolia jack, sometimes called Tongadal Li or Malaysian ginseng, has been shown in some studies to actually increase testosterone levels and increase the amount of free testosterone, which again helps stimulate growth and normal cellular function. As well, there are supplements that have been shown to increase growth hormone. There's a blend of different herbs that's available that's actually been shown to increase growth hormone in some women. As well, there's been supplements that have been shown to be able to increase estrogen levels. In fact, isoflavones from soy, clover, and a herb called black cohosh actually seem to help stabilize and normalize estrogen function in the body. So, there are a variety of options there for treating hormonal disruption. And again, best to work with a doctor on that one because, of course, you're going to have to adjust dosages as your hormones start to normalize. And say you support estrogen too much and then testosterone becomes a problem, the key is balance with hormones. So working with somebody who can help you attain proper hormone balance is really important. And then last but not least is that group of supplements that we call antioxidants. Antioxidants come in a variety of forms. I usually recommend to my patients to take in a balance of both fat-soluble and water-soluble antioxidants because toxins can fall into both categories, and things that are water-soluble typically are not that effective against fat-soluble toxins and vice versa. So by taking in two different types of antioxidants, one can ensure that they're getting adequate protection against the damages of normal metabolism. So the antioxidants I typically recommend, mainly because of their strength. I'm a big fan of an antioxidant called astaxanthin. This is one of the fat-soluble antioxidants. In addition to that, vitamin E behaves as a fat-soluble antioxidant and has been shown to be very effective. And then on the water-soluble side, everybody loves a glass of red wine, and one of the health benefits of that is a compound called Resveratrol. So I typically recommend supplementing with Resveratrol, as a supplement can mimic the same Resveratrol content as up to 1,000 bottles or glasses of red wine. Now, as much as we might like 1,000 glasses of red wine, there's an alcohol toxicity issue there. So, supplementing with the Resveratrol is an easy way to get the same benefit without all the risks associated with the high consumption of alcohol. In addition to that, I also like alpha lipoic acid, very potent antioxidant, and then of course good old vitamin C, one of the simplest, most basic antioxidants in the body, and supplementing with that can actually help to prevent aging. So those are some of the things you can do to help manage aging and ensure that you live a long, healthy, and young life. So if you like this one, check out more of our natural health videos. You can go to Nationalnutrition.ca to find some of them, or check out our YouTube channel and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, please post them below. And always remember, knowledge is health.